Your hearing aids are probably underperforming without you even realizing. Plus, you may be cleaning them way more often than you need to. There is no question that earwax, yes, that's the subject of today's video, is the #1 reason that hearing aids stop working. So when Phonak quietly released something that claims to eliminate that problem entirely, I paid close attention. But at the same time, was careful not to fall for their marketing hype. Not until I tried it out myself with my own patients. Well, you are in for a treat today, and in this video I'm going to give you 6 reasons that you should switch to the new Phonak EasyGuard, and 1 killer reason that you absolutely should not. And on top of that, I'll give you a simple decision framework so that you know instantly if this is the right setup for you. Now for context, I run the largest independent audiology clinic in London, and we see thousands of hearing aid users every year. So I see this problem every single day. Reason #1 that you should switch is that it solves the #1 hearing aid problem that I was talking about earlier, wax. Have you ever had your hearing aid just stop working altogether? Well, most people assume that it's broken, especially if it happens for the first time and early on in your hearing aid journey. But it's not. It's something as simple as earwax getting in the way. And it'll find a way into your hearing aid whether you've had them for a week or for 6 months. And this happens because the dome on the end of your hearing aid has a tiny, it's minuscule hole for sound to travel out and into your ear canal, allowing for wax to enter and your wax filter to clog. Well, guess what? These new EasyGuard domes remove this hole entirely, with these new domes being a completely sealed membrane with no hole to allow wax to find its way inside your hearing aid. But at the same time, and this is the clever part, sound can still pass through completely, as these are acoustically transparent devices. Reason #2 that you should change to these EasyGuards is that you will no longer have to change your wax filters. In this recent poll that I put out there on YouTube, over 40% of you have to change your wax filters on a monthly basis, if not more regularly. In fact, I would love to know about you watching this video today. Let me know in the comments how often you have to change your wax filters, and while you're at it, let me know which model of hearing aids you're wearing too. There's no denying that they are fiddly to change. They often block up at the most inconvenient of times. Of course, it's when you don't have any filters on you as well. And as I mentioned earlier, you may not even know if they're starting to block up. So your hearing aids will potentially be underperforming without you even realizing. So with any of my patients that I'm fitting with these EasyGuards, I tell them they don't even need to change their filters at all. In fact, I'm not even 100% sure why Phonak still suggests that they need to be on the hearing aid. So if anyone from Phonak's watching, let me know in the comments, do they need to be added to hearing aids anymore? Reason #3 is that they are so incredibly easy to maintain, literally taking 5 seconds to clean rather than messing around with those filters once a month. So how does this work? I would recommend a simple daily wipe with no tools, no filter change, making it far easier for you to care for your hearing aid technology. Reason #4 that you should march immediately to see your audiologist and demand that they switch you over to these filters is that your sound quality stays consistent throughout the lifespan of each dome. Now, as I brushed over earlier, a gradual wax buildup will normally result in a gradual sound degradation, which you may not even notice. However, with the new ones, with the EasyGuards, even if they are coated in wax, they will still transmit sound. And I haven't told you about this sooner because they've been around for a few months now. However, I wanted to try it out on some of my waxiest patients that use domes. So I can now confirm that yes, I've seen it in action and I've had my waxiest of patients using them for the last few months. And simply put, it works. Now, of course, I'm not suggesting not having your ears cleaned out if you're a wax producing machine. However, it's good to know that your hearing aids won't stop working at the smallest sign of wax if you switch over to these new domes. Reason #5 is that there is no impact on comfort. So whilst Phonak are slowly releasing the various styles from closed to open to power domes, you shouldn't be able to tell the difference with the fit versus the old style. So there is absolutely no compromise on comfort. Reason #6 is that they will potentially save you hundreds of dollars. How have I come to this conclusion? Any wax getting through your existing domes can make it to the filter, and if there's enough of it, it can get through that filter too. If that then gets onto your hearing aid receiver, which is the most vulnerable part of any hearing aid, then you'll need to replace it. Therefore, no wax equals less damage and no costly repairs. However, for a certain group of hearing aid users, there is a killer reason not to switch. If you wear or need custom molds or custom tips. I am a big fan of custom tips, and if I could, I would put them on every single hearing aid user's hearing aids out there, for many reasons, all of which I will highlight, or I have highlighted in this video. And if you haven't thought about custom tips, then you absolutely should. So, in my opinion, if you are suitable for custom tips, then changing to these EasyGuards, yes, would possibly improve your experience from a wax ingression point of view. However, the downside is you would pay the price acoustically and experience poorer hearing. Finally, as promised, here is a simple decision framework to guide you as to whether this tech is right for you, and if you answer yes to any of these, then you should absolutely switch. Firstly, if you struggle with wax buildup. Secondly, if you hate changing wax filters. Thirdly, if your hearing aids just randomly stop working. Fourthly, if you want lower maintenance. However, if you answer yes to this, then stick with your current setup. You wear or need custom molds. Saying that, none of this matters unless you're wearing the best hearing aids in the universe, which you'll find in this video.